ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरद्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, 10th chapter, beginning from verse number 27. So this is a description of appearance of cosmic body of the Lord. And as we read earlier, there are three divisions in the cosmic body. There are senses and the sitting places of the senses, the instrument, and the deities of each sense. So he has explained how the mouth appeared, and the eyes, and the speech, and ears, and skin, and hands, and legs, and organ of generation. All this came into existence, and there are presiding deities of each. So if one wants to gain power in one particular sense, then one should worship that particular deity. Then one can get power in that sense. Now he explained about 27 we did yesterday, I think. Utsirshikshor dhatu malam nirbhidyata vaigulam tata fine this one. 28. Asi slipsoho pura purya nabhi dwaram apanatah tatra panastato mrityu prithakatvam ubhayashrayam. When he desired to move from one body to another, then the navel appeared, and also appeared the apana, which is one type of air, and the presiding deity of this sense is death, because when apana is removed from the prana, then there is death. So as we read earlier about the prana, that the first thing which was generated was prana. Antah sharira akashat purushasya vicheshtata ojasaho balam jagye tatah prano mahanasa. So first there was life air, because this body functions on life airs, and if life airs are disturbed, then we get disease. So in Ayurveda as well as in yoga, they try to adjust these airs, and when these airs are disturbed, then other parts of the body become disturbed. So there are 5 major airs, Pranapan, Saman, Vyanudan, and there are 5 secondary airs, and all the activities of the bodies are performed with these airs. So these are pranas, the air which we are breathing through the nostril, that is prana, and apana is that which is going down for passing stool and urine, etc. Then we need apana air for that. And these two they meet in the navel region, which is called saman. And if they are separated, then the person dies. So till the time they are joined, there is life. So now the death, because death means when the life airs leave the body and go to another one. So this also exists in this particular body. In Japanese language they have a word called harakiri. You might have heard. You know what is harakiri? What is it?
Knife.
So they put a knife here, because this place is called hara, and kiri means finished. So that's why it is called harakiri. So in Japanese this point is called hara. If you do I think this qigong, then they talk about the hara. So hara is the life center, in the sense that if the life air is taken away from there, then there is death. So this is a very important center. You know, in the morning you lie down in your bed, and if you put these 3 fingers on the navel and press it, then you will hear something pumping up and down. And if that stops, then there is death. So he comments, Puryaha dehat purah dehantarani asi shripso sarvato ganthumiccho. That when he decided that he wants to go from one city to another city, this body is called a city. It's a township. Like if you go to a city, there is a lot of arrangement, right? So this body also has a lot of arrangement inside, and soul is living in it. Soul is the king of this body. So like previously they used to have palaces or castles, and in the castle the king is living, but there are many other people also who live. So that is called Puri in Sanskrit. So this body is called Puri, Navdware Pure Dehi, and soul is living in it. But it also is not living in it permanently, and it has to leave. So in the previous verse we read that when there was desire in the cosmic beings to reject the refuse matter or the faces from the body, then the anus came into existence. So there are 2 types of refuse in this body which we collect. One is when we eat everyday food, then when the food is digested, some becomes part of our body as blood and the bones, etc. and the rest is rejected once you go to the toilet. Besides this, we are also collecting another type of refuse matter, and that is the karma. So as we have to pass every day to keep the body healthy, then we also have to pass from one body to another to get out of this body and remove that refuse in the form of karma. So that karma is left in this body, that prarabdha karma. Then you move into the another one, and there you create more karma. Like every day you pass stool and then you eat more food and get energy. So like that this body also accumulates, and then you leave this and you go to another one. So therefore death is also a very necessary thing. It's like passing stool is very important, otherwise you cannot function in life. So in the same way death is important, otherwise you become old and you cannot function in this body, you have to give up this. So apanataha apana margena, so the body is given up to apan and prana. Uplakshanam idam prana margena. Pranapanyor bandha vishlese mrityuriti prasiddhi. So it is well known in Ayurveda and Yoga also that when this prana and apana, these two types of life airs, they are disjointed, then there is death. So when the death occurs, then either the apana will leave from the lower holes of the body and prana remains, because prana does not go down, it remains above the navel. Or the prana leaves and the apana will remain behind, and then of course it also goes out. So then there is death. Nabhi dwaram adhishthanam. So this navel is the sitting place of this sense. Apana is the indriya and Mrityu is the devata. The presiding deity is called Mrityu. It's also one deity. And prithakatvam marnam vishaya. And the death is the object of this sense when these two are separated. Aditsoranna pananam asan kukshiyantra nadayah nadya samudrasya tayo tushti tadashraye. When there was desire to eat and hold the food, then the abdomen, intestines and the veins came into existence, and the rivers and the oceans are the presiding deities of this. And tushti and pushti, satisfaction and nourishment, are the objects. So previously, when first prana came into existence, then there was hunger. When hunger was there, then mouth came into existence. But with mouth you only eat. But after eating, you have to store the food. So there he said that there was hunger or desire to eat and drink. And here it is where to accept the food, aditso. Aditso annapanana. So it's not that you just eat, it also has to go and then it has to be digested. So when these three came into existence, abdomen and intestines and veins, So these three are basically two senses here because there are two presiding deities and there are two objects. So intestines and the veins are one and abdomen is separate. And river and ocean are the presiding deities. So if you want to have good digestion, then go and take bath in the river or in the ocean. Then it gives good blood circulation in the veins and it exercises the abdomen and also the intestines. So you take shower in your apartment or house, but going and taking a dip in the river, that is very healthy. And ocean is even more, because these are the presiding deities. Annapana aditsoho sangrahecho. So when there was desire to hold food has been eaten and drunk, then kukshischa antranicha nadyascha asana. When the abdomen, intestines and the veins came into existence, tatra kukshir adhisthanam antriyani anna sangrahe nadyastu pana sangrahe. So he says that the abdomen and the intestine, they are the adhisthan for holding the food, and nadi, I don't know if vein is the proper translation of nadi, because really speaking nadi is, don't have exact translation. That is to store what you drink. So these two are the indriyas or the senses. Tayor nadyantra vargeho kramena nadhyah samudrascha devata. And river and ocean, they are the devatas. Tushtir udarbharanam pushtischa ras parinamta sthalyam. And tushti means, you can take the mat from here. Tushti means to fill up the belly and feel satisfied. So it is very important that if you are hungry, then you have to eat enough that you feel satisfied. Of course, not overeating. That is problem, because abdomen also has its capacity. Ayurveda says that you should fill up your stomach half with the food and 1/4 with the liquid, and leave 1/4 for the air. That is called balanced eating. And if you fill everything with the food, then you cannot even belch, and it is going to create problems. And pushti means when the food is digested, then it nourishes the body. So eating gives, when you eat, there are three things happen. Tushti, pushti, kshuddhapaya. That you get satisfaction by eating, especially if the food is to your liking. You get nourished and your hunger is removed. So these three things happen simultaneously. And then your body gains strength. Tad ashraya indriya devata adhina tushti pushti. So this satisfaction and nourishment is under the control of the senses, which means the abdomen, the intestines and the veins, and also the devata. They are also important. निधिध्यास और आत्म मायाम Hridayam nirabhadyata tato manastataschandra sankalpa kam evacha. And when there was desire to meditate on the Maya, on the Lord and the creation, then the heart developed. And then there was mind, and there was moon, and there was sankalpa and calm, resolution and desire. So heart is the seat of the mind, and moon is the presiding deity of the mind. That's why when people become crazy, we call them lunatic. Because lunatic means related with lunar, moon. Right? So therefore he says that moon is the presiding deity of the mind. So crazy person means that his mind is not functioning properly, therefore he is lunatic. And mind has two things. One is sankalpa and other is calm. Sankalpa is the resolve and karma and desires. So these two, they come from the mind. Atmano maya maikam cha vastum nididhyaso chintetum ichcha. When there was desire to think about Maya of the Lord and the objects created by Maya, then mind came into existence. Of course, now one may ask a question that before mind, how the desire came? Because he's saying that he desired. When there was no mind, how can there be desire? So in Sankhya, everything exists all the time. Things are either manifest or unmanifest. Nothing new is created in this world. Everything is only a manifestation or unmanifestation. So when mind was not manifest yet, it existed in its causal form. And causal form was giving the desires. That is to be understood. Hridayam adhisthanam, the heart is the seat. Mind, mana indriyam, mind is the sense. Chandra devata, moon is the deity. Sankalp abhilasha adya vishya. And sankalpa and vishya, which means desire and then action or resolve and action, these are the objects of this sense. Atra hridaya adhisthane chitta ahankar buddhya indriyani tad devatasya. So here, along with mind, we have to also understand that in the heart there are three more things along with mind. There is chitta, which is the unconscious mind. In Western psychology, they have conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind. So chitta is the unconscious mind, and ahankar is the ego, or that which gives the feeling of individuality. We all feel that I am an individual person. No matter how much you hear that we are all one, or we are God, or we are Brahman, we all feel that I am separate from everybody. No one can deny this.
Special. Special.
And I am special. So that is because of ahankar.
Illusion. Illusion.
Ahankar.
Ego. I maker.
Yeah, that who gives the sense of I.
Yeah, is this correct?
Yeah, it is correct. Because you are an individual being. Is it not correct?
But I'm soul.
But that is also individual.
Soul?
Soul is also having eye or not? If soul does not have an eye, then how can you have eye?
Soul is I. Soul is I.
Yeah. So there is eye in soul, therefore there is eye. If soul is not individual, then you can also not have individuality. It's like you have this kurta on your body, because your body has a shape, so the kurta has a shape. If your body was formless, then kurta will also be formless. Try to put a kurta around air. Tad devatascha Vasudev Rudra Brahma. So the presiding deity of Chitta, the unconscious mind, is Vasudev. And presiding deity of Ahankar or ego is Rudra, Lord Shiva. He is the ego master. And presiding deity of Buddhi, intelligence, or the conscious mind. Buddhi is the conscious mind, Chitta is the unconscious mind, and what we call mind is the subconscious mind, or semi-conscious. So the presiding deity of Buddhi is Brahma. And Tritiya Skandhat Geya, these will be described later on. And Kapila Dev will speak philosophy in the third canto. Tadevam Ashtadash Indriyani Prasiddhani Ekadash Eva Geyan. So these are the 18 senses which have been described here. Usually we talk about 11 senses. 5 working senses, which are hands, legs, and the sense of speaking, and sense of procreation and sense of evacuation. So these are the 5 working senses. Then there are 5 cognitive senses: sense of seeing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of taste, and sense of hearing. And then there is the mind, which is the internal sense by which you feel happiness and pain. So usually these are called 11 senses. But here he has defined 18. There are 7 more extra senses. There is also the Chitta, the Ahankar, the Buddhi, and there was the sense of death, and this storing the food, and so on, 3 to 5, 6, there should be one more, and one more was Kandu, special sense of itching. The itching sensation is very important. So these are 7 extra ones defined here. Now in this body, out of this 11 which are commonly known, 10 are external. They are external in the body, and 1 is internal, the mind. And there are 9 gates in this body. Nadware Puredehi. Krishna says this body like a city with 9 gates. So 9 gates, and there are 10 senses. So 9 gates, we know the 9 gates: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, mouth, and 2 below. Out of that, 3 don't have any gates: the skin, the hands, and the legs don't have any gates. And 2 are in one place: the speech and the taste are in one. And there are 3 which are 2 to each: 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, the groups of 2. So in this way, the senses and the gates are not equal. So then he described some other also gate. He called about the navel through which apana can leave and one can die. So this is the description of body. The complete body has been described with the division of three: the senses, the seat of the sense, and the presiding deity, or the God who is looking after the controller of that sense. And the object of each sense has been described, because each sense is related to one particular object. So this is the complete description of the cosmic body, which also applies to the human body, because our human body is the mini, or it is the replica of God's body. In Bible also it is said that God created human beings on his own image. So here we see that the cosmic body and the human body are also described in the same way. So he started with the prana. Now he again talks of the prana. He ends with the prana. He says, Tvat charm mas rudhir medo ajja asthi dhatavah bhumi aptejo maya saptah prano vyomambu vayubhi. He says that the twak and charm, basically both means skin. So one is the hard skin on top and one is the below. And then there is mass below skin, because the beauty is only up to the skin level. Beyond skin there is no beauty. So everything is nicely covered with the skin. Like you have some product, you pack it nicely, then people buy it. If you don't pack it nicely, then nobody buys it. So packing is very important. So this body also is packed nicely. And when there is problem with the packing, then people go for plastic surgery. They are repairing the packing. Because if you use an object, then packing is also going to wear out after some time. So then people repair, otherwise nobody is going to buy it. So those people who are in the body business, then they have to keep their packing nice. So all the time you hear about Botox injections and this injection. Today also there was news that these are causing a lot of disease. So you may be 70, 80 years old, but you can go under surgery and then you can become like 40, at least, if not less. And there are people, there was one lady, she was I think 30-year-old and she has undergone 28 plastic surgery. So you can imagine how much she has worked on her packing. And she was preparing for the next one. She is doing 2 jobs to pay for all these surgeries. So sometimes nose work, sometimes the lip work, sometimes the breast work and the hip work. So everything has to be worked. So this is the charm. In Sanskrit, the word for skin is charm. And in English we have a word charm. So the charm is only in the charm. Beyond charm, there is no charm. So you have to keep the charm nicely. And there is big business to keep your charm charming. And people pay for it. So below then there is the meat, the mass, then there is blood, then there is meda, there is fat, there is majja. Majja is which is inside the bones. What is it called?
Not.
Marrow.
Mera.
And then there is bones. So this is what body is made of. There are bones, and you have all seen bones. They are very beautiful. Then there is blood, very nice. And there is some fatty stuff, there is marrow, and there is skin. So this is all what body is made of. So he has given the description of this wonderful body. And inside there are nerves and veins and carrying the food from here and there. And whatever comes out from this body, from any hole of this body, is not very pleasing. And it is coming from the upper holes or the lower holes. And lower holes are even more disturbing than the upper ones. So this is the philosophy or the essence of this wonderful, beautiful body. So he says that these are the 7 dhatus. These are called dhatu, or those which hold the body. Because this body is held by the bones. If the bones are not there, it will collapse. And then when the bones are there, still bones are not enough. You may have seen this, what do you call
Skeletons.
skeleton. The skeleton is not going to function. Then it needs some blood, some mass, some meat around it. So then it functions nicely. So that's why they are called dhatu. Dhatu means the support. So it is supported by that. And these dhatus, they are made from 3 things. Bhumi, Up and Teja. They are made from the solid and the liquid and fire. 3 things make them. That's what our food consists of. Food is solid, liquid, and it has some energy in it, the heat energy. And if you eat nuts in the winter, it gives you heat. And then besides this, what you need more, which is most important, is the prana. So he says prana, vyoma, ambu, vayubhi. Then there is prana. And prana is flowing through the space, water and air. These 3 are the carriers of prana and also the source. So you feel, therefore being in open space is also very important. And fresh water and fresh air. That is very important. That's why it is called pranayam. And do these breathing exercises. So because that has prana. But these days we are always sitting in the closed rooms, AC or heated. There are no windows and artificial light. You don't even see the sky. Forget about going somewhere. And bottled water. So everything is closed. So make sure there is no prana. So adhidevadi bhedam vibhajya uktva tadans bhutanam dhatuadinam swarupamahe dvabhyam. So after describing adhideva, adhibhuta and adhyatma, these 3 divisions, now he is describing their parts in the form of dhatus, because these are skin and all these are part of what has been already described. Tvak charmano sthalya sukshmatvabhyam bheda kalpa. This tvak and charma, Sanskrit both means skin, but here they have to be distinguished as the gross and the subtle. There is skin on top, but it's not, skin also has different layers below also. So that is also sensitive. Otherwise one may say, if I remove this, then I should not sense the sense of touch. Below also there is subtle. That's why you can feel still. त्वगादयो अस्थियंता ये सप्त धातवस्ते भूमि आप तेजोमया तेषां च पांच भौतिकत्वेपि वायु आकाशयोर आहारादि रूपेण संवर्धकत्व भावान एवं. So he says that these 7 dhatus or these 7 materials which are described here, which constitute the body, they are mainly coming or made of the earthly elements, means solid, and watery, liquid products, and teja, which means light, sunlight. And although they also include air and space in them, but they are negligent, they are not the main constituents, so that's why they have not been counted. That means if you want to gain fat, then air is not going to help you. If you just breathe and don't eat solid food and you think you are going to gain weight, then forget it. So if you want to gain weight, means you get some fat or some muscles on your body, then you need solid food or also liquids, juices, etc. But if you simply say, well, I am going to take some space outside and take some air and then I am going to become fat, then that won't happen. That's why only these 3 have been said. That for blood, for the muscles, for the fat, for the bones, what is necessary is the solid things.
What is the difference between air and prana?
Prana is the energy which flows through air.
So prana is an energy.
Prana is an energy. Prana iti vyom ambu bhyam pushta vayave eva prana. So here he is saying that prana here refers to air which has the energy of the sky and energy of the water in it, that air. So that means fresh air. But energy of the sky means it should be from the open, and the air when it is raining or near the ocean, because it has the water coming from the ocean, or near the river or a pond, so that air is very healthy. Even a fountain will help. So that has more prana in it. गुणात्मकानि इंद्रियाणि भूतादि प्रभवा गुणः मनः सर्वविकारात्मा बुद्धिर्विज्ञान रूपिणी. Says that this Gunatmakani Indriyani, the senses, they are Gunatmak in the sense that they function with their objects. We have the eyes, so Guna Gunesu Vartante iti matva nasajjate. Krishna says that Guna Gunesu Vartante. Guna means senses and Guna means the sense object. Sanskrit is very interesting. One word can have different meaning. So previously this word prana, anuprananteyam prana. Prana can means life here, it can also means the senses. So here Gunatmak means the senses, they are absorbed in the sense object. means their life is the sense object. If there is no sense object for a particular sense, then that sense has no value, no life in it. It will become futile. That is the meaning. That gunatmakani indriyani bhutadi prabhavaguna. And the gunas, the sense objects, they are made of the bhutadis, the material elements, which are five basically: earth, water, fire, air and ether. So all objects are made of these five things. And mana sarva vikaratma, and mind is the cause of all problems. All this creation, everything happens because of the mind. So it is sarva vikara atma. And buddhir vijnana rupani, and buddhi or intelligence, that is that which gives you proper understanding, proper knowledge. That is coming from the Buddha. So we have to know this.
Also, the disease come because of the mind. Disease in the physical body.
Yes.
These are also problems.
They are also because of the mind.
Also because of the mind.
So he says, Gunatmakani guneshu sabdadishu atma pravritti subhava yesham tam. The senses, they will naturally go for their sense object. The tongue wants to taste, the eyes want to see beautiful form, the ears want to hear nice music, the skin wants nice touch. So this is their swabhav, this is their very nature. No one can change it. One of the important things in the creation is the swabhav. He said dravyam kalam karmacha, so dravyam karma kalancha swabhava jiva evacha. Basically these are the how many dravya and swabhav, kal, karma and jiva, five things. Everything is a mixture of this. So swabhav is also very important. So everything has its own swabhav. The senses have their swabhav, their nature. Characteristic is to go after the sense object. So we should know this.
This cannot be changed.
No.
It's like that.
How can you change? The eyes can only see. You cannot change eyes to smell.
Control the senses.
Controlling is different. You are not changing. The eyes will see. You cannot change it.
I can close
That doesn't mean that you have lost the capacity to see.
You see the eye.
You are not using your sense. That doesn't change the quality of the eye. When you close or open or do anything else. Gunaha sabdadayo bhutadir ahankara tatah prakarshena bhavanti. And guna refers to all the objects of the senses. They are produced, the sense objects are produced from these elements. Sarva vikaranam atma sarvan vikaran manayeva sanjivati. And all various types of transformations, disturbances, problems, happiness, distress, the root cause is mind. Mind is the cause of everything. Good and bad, happiness and distress, all this hatred and love, all because of the mind. And intelligence, that gives us proper understanding. Vijnanam Vivek Shakti Stadrupa. So Buddhya Yukta Ya Partha Karma Bandham Prasya. When we use our intelligence, then only we can become free from our problems. When we don't use our intelligence, then we keep on suffering. So therefore, buddhi is very important. So this is the description of cosmic body. Now from here onwards, he is going to speak more about this body and how it functions and how one has to meditate on it and what is beyond it, the transcendental body. Because this is only the material body, not the spiritual.
So you said that the mind, the avatar of the mind is like Shiva.
Moon.
The
Moon.
Chandra.
Yeah, and what about who is Shiva then?
Ahankar.
The Ahankara. So then, and Brahma is for the intelligence. Right? So in that sense, it seems that Brahma is superior than.
Brahma is the father of Shiva. You know that.
And Cheetah, who is a flying deity?
Chitta is Krishna.
Krishna.
So then he's naturally superior.
But Shiva is superior to Brahma.
Sometimes son can be more than father.
But there is nothing wrong in that.
I have a question. I always understood there were 19 elements in the cosmic body. Not 8, no? 19. Is that correct? Like 5 pranas, the 5 organs of action, the 5 sense organs, and then buddhi, ahankara, manas, and I'm missing one. But it's correct or
That is also correct.
9?
It depends how many you want to count. There are also 24. Now you add 5 more, the 5 tanmatra, then it becomes 24. So sometimes 8, sometimes 16, 19, 24. That is just depending whether, like he said, mind is one sense and other 3 are not counted. So sometimes you count that there are 4 internal senses, mind, intelligence, ego and chitta. And sometimes they just use one word mind for all 4. So it's just depending whether you want to go more into details or you want to keep it short.
The mind is the problem of all problems, yes? The mind is the cause of all problems.
Yeah, and it is also the cause of liberation,
So,
of solution.
Solution.
Maneva manusyanam karanam bandha mokshaya. Mind is the cause of bondage, and mind is also the cause of liberation. So mind is the friend, mind is also an enemy. Atma hi atmano bandhu atma hi ripuratmana. Krishna says mind is the friend of mind, the soul, and mind is also the enemy of the soul. So both are there. If mind is under your control, then it is your best friend. And if you are under the control of mind, then it is your worst enemy.
So then all these qualities like
Buddhi indriya mane pranam, buddhi indriya mane pranam, kalpet prabhu, atmartham cha bhavartham cha atmane kalpanaya cha. Srijat Prabhu. Lord created mind, intelligence, pran, both for enjoying and for liberation. So good and bad depends on how you use it. Knife is good, knife is bad. If you have to cut vegetables and fruits, it's very helpful. If you have to cut somebody's throat, it can be a problem.
we control the mind through the intelligence.
Yes,
It's only the only way.
only
Control through intelligence.
otherwise it's uncontrollable.
This means yoga, by yoga, huh?
So also this happiness and distress and
All mind.
all in the mind. Also this hot and cold.
Everything in the mind.
And also this hating and loving.
All in the mind.
Also loving, huh? So that doesn't have much value.
Hmm?
Doesn't have much value if it's in the mind.
And that you have to decide. When you eat food, it has value or not?
Okay, food has value, yeah, everything has a purpose. Okay.
In mind means how do you perceive? It's like how you feel, think about
Mind is the faculty with which you think, where thoughts take birth, where you sense happiness, distress, where you also, through which you also sense the external world. Without mind you cannot sense. So that is mind.
So depending on how you see the world, you have accordingly your consciousness or feelings.
That is, there are two things. One is you sense, mind is an instrument and the sense is an instrument. So you sense something. And second is how you interpret it. So that is different.
Interpret it with Buddhi.
Interpretation is done with the help of chitta, from your past experience. So you always interpret, whenever you experience something new, you interpret it from the past.
But still that's not a perfect way of living because there's a long way to go then. You learn through kicks.
Hmm?
Then it's a long way to actually reach the reality because you learn through experience. Something is good, then you learn, and bad, then you learn, try to change it. It's a long, long way to go.
Otherwise, what is the short way?
And about this itching thing,
Itching on the mind.
the itching, yeah,
Yes.
it has to have some
Have to
purpose.
scratch.
Purpose is that itch is the source of material happiness.
Oh,
I don't
Yeah,
understand.
because people they are under this itching thing,
Itching
like
is
they're
source of
slave of the
I
itching.
feel I don't understand it.
This
How come
happiness which you feel,
when you scratch?
When you
scratching.
So it's good to have itching. Then you can scratch and be happy.
Later on it will be described that the sex pleasure, which is considered as the highest pleasure in the material world, is nothing but an itch.
the highest itch.
It's like pushing.
So if there is no itching, then you don't enjoy sex life.
So it has a purpose also
It's more important.
the creation.
Always good.
Because sex is because of itch. No itch, no sex. And more the itching sensation, more there is desire for sex. So that is itching. So if you can understand that, then you can also know that what is the big deal about sex, It's another itch. It's a type of itching. Like you itch your hand, scratching it.
But one can control the itching, yes?
Hmm?
To control the itching.
You can control everything. That's why they are explaining, so that you can control. Otherwise, what is the fun in explaining and you cannot do anything about it. This whole explanation is given here so that you control them. Why they're talking about the deity and the object and the sense.
Something about it.
So you are not the slave of your senses. You can be master of your senses. And that's why it is being explained. A normal person is a slave of the senses. Although everybody is very proud that we are independent. But nobody is independent. Everybody is a slave of the senses. Only a person who has control over the senses, control over the mind is independent.
What does
So
it
that
mean?
is the purpose.
Sorry, what does it mean to have control over? Because the sensations are still happening, right?
Now it's up to you whether you want to go for it or you don't want to go for it.
That's the meaning of controlling it.
That's what control means. So like you are sit in the car and you have steering in your hand, so you can take the car where you want. And when you are sitting in the back seat and the car is moving, it's in the gear, then it will take you wherever it takes. You have no control over it. So you are independent when you are sitting in the back seat, moving car, no driver, or when you are sitting in the driver's seat and the car is moving. So everybody in this world is sitting on this body which is like a car because it is always moving. And they don't have the steering in their hands. They're sitting in the back seat. And then they think we are free. This is the biggest illusion.
It's like we came to the world with all these, like a machine, but we don't have the instructions.
Don't have the manual of
the
this
manual
machine.
for
So he is describing the manual
here's the manual.
and how it works and what is the purpose and how you should use it.
If we try to control the mind upwards, it means by pranayama or by exercise, can it have the same effect as controlling the mind through intelligence, or is it actually the same?
Pranayama is not just going to control your mind without intelligence.
So without intelligence, happens actually nothing. As even doing exercise.
Without intelligence you are sleeping in the back seat. And when you have intelligence functioning, then you are in the driver's seat and awake.
So even by doing manual exercise.
You can go on doing it. No problem. You can make the senses strong, but doesn't mean that you have control over them. Exercises make the senses strong, but they don't control them. You can have nice tire, good engine, so that is exercise. You have nice heart, good blood flowing in you. Controlling is different.
So meditation would be a good
That's
way.
why in Ashtanga Yoga, these first 5 out of 8 are called Bahiranga, external. These Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam and Pratyahar, 5 are the external part of yoga. And Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi are the internal. So external means you are only preparing yourself.
Is even pranayama.
Yes. Cleaning the body, cleaning the carburetor, seeing that there is no carbon on it. So pranayama cleanses the nervous system.
The mind is in the heart,
Yes.
you say. What does it consist of? How is it in the heart? Because it's such a subtle thing. When you
Well,
say
the
it's
thing
in
is
a
this,
place,
to understand anything you need to use your mind. Now to understand your own mind with mind, the only way it is possible is that you have to meditate. Otherwise you cannot understand. Because it is not something gross. Very subtle. What we call brain is the instrument for the mind. It's like these eyes are the instrument for the sight. You can also see by closing your eyes. So similarly, the brain, which neurologists are studying, that is not mind as it is being described here. That is the machine through which mind works. Mind is separate from it.
And it is lost.
So this is just a machine, as I said, instrument through which it works. It's like you have these two eyes which we call eyes. In Sanskrit these are called golaka, meaning the instrument. Otherwise sense of seeing is only one. But we have two eyes. We have only 5 senses, right? Sense of hearing, sense of seeing, sense of touch, sense of smell and sense of taste. But we have 2 ears and 2 eyes. So that means sense and the eye are 2 different things. So these 2 things are the instrument through which the sense of seeing contacts the world or objects outside and senses them. It's the instrument.
Do you have another question?
You wanted to ask?
Yeah, it was about the same thing about the place where the mind is sitting.
If it is the same thing, the same answer.
It's only that there is the confusion because of the
Yeah.
plane.
Feel it in your heart, so you say my heart is looking at the eyes and feel it crying, right?
The Lord is also in the heart.
Yes. Many things in the heart.
It's busy.
The greatest treasure.
Heart is